Okay. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of One Piece Weekly. Myself, Manny, Conley, and Abby. And we are from the Four Eyes Academia. And as always, we'll be discussing the latest One Piece chapter. Today's chapter is chapter 1009, titled Hell. As we run through the chapter, we'll be talking about the key points that have happened so far. But first, Abby had a few points in regards to the cover page.
Oda was inspired by the Kiza Jizzo story. It's about an old poor couple, and on New Year's Eve, they realized they couldn't afford food. So the old man went into town to sell, I think it's homemade straw hats. I think it's called casa. I don't know. I should have searched what that was, but I don't know. But he was unsuccessful, and as he was making his way back home, he came across a row of Jizzo statues. He decided to give them his casa because the custom is to keep them covered. So he gave them 5 straw hats because there were 5 statues, but then he realized there was a 6th, and so he decided to give him his own clothing, right, for protection. Then he made his way back home, explained to the missus that he was unsuccessful selling whatever he wanted to sell, and they're pretty much going to starve for New Year's, and she was pretty understanding, and they went to bed. Then they woke up to like thumping at the door, and when they opened it, they saw like a pile of treasure on their doorstep. So it was food, rice, veg, and gold, and they saw the Jizzo statues just like waddling away. So yeah, they were repaid for their kindness. To give a bit more backstory on Jizzos themselves, they're seen as the protectors of children, specifically dead ones, and also travelers. My theory is, so theory 1 is that they're at a funeral, right? Or what they call a oben, which is like a festival celebrating dead ancestors. And that's where you would see Jizzo statues. And if you can see, most of the straw hats are wearing black clothing, as you would at a funeral. They look like they're celebrating, which is also what you do at an oben or Bon festival. I feel like it either foreshadows someone in this page dying, or they're at a funeral of someone they all know. So someone could be dying. Well, I think we all know that we've established that someone in Wano is going to die. So that's what this foreshadows. So I thought maybe it could be Tama. Jizzo statues do celebrate and do protect their children, so maybe it was foreshadowing that Tama could be dying. The other theory is that Tama might join the crew, and I say that because Jizzo statues protect travelers, right? So instead of a funeral, they could just be traveling as they do. Tama is the one that's trying to put a straw hat on a Jizzo statue. I'm leaning more towards a death. It might not be Tama, it might not be anyone in the picture, but I definitely think this is them celebrating someone that has died, so they're at a funeral.
What you notice on the sleeves of the straw hats, you have Luffy sail away from Safe Harbor, Zoro has 3 swords on his sleeve, Sanji has I will cook on his sleeve, and Nami has unshot on hers, and Jinbei has what looks like a shark.
Fish. Or a shark, yeah.
Yeah, a type of fish on his sleeve. So I guess these are all things that are important to
just want to point out that Frankie has hentai on his sleeve.
That's where I was going to. Frankie has hentai. And also we noticed that in the cover page, Chopper and Hammer are not wearing black, and I remember you saying something about it, Abby.
Yeah, so my theory on who was wearing black and who wasn't is, I think he's not wearing black because he's already dead. Chopper is an animal, right? I don't know he's taken the human devil fruit, but he's still an animal. So I don't expect him to be wearing black. Frankie is a cyborg, so he's part human, part machine. And that's why he's wearing half black, half red. And Tama isn't wearing black. I'm suspecting, some kind of like death flag going on there.
A very, very elite chapter, One Piece, aka With Peace.
Best one this year.
Before we get into all the Zoro hype, there was an incident that happens before that. Obviously, in the last chapter, we get the Scabbards versus the Zoro event. In this chapter, they confront Orochi, and it was a really, really good chapter. Quick few panels of the incident between Orochi and the Scabbards, where Orochi transformed into his own devil fruit, and the Scabbards just cut off his head. I counted 5 heads being cut by the Scabbards. There's one that was cut by Kaido a few chapters ago, and he has eight heads. So I feel like he has 2 heads left, and he's not actually dead. And I'm assuming that those 2 heads will eventually be cut off by Momo and Hiyori.
I definitely like that this was just kept short, nice and sweet.
Yeah.
They didn't waste time with him. Now they're moving on.
And then we've got the Kinemon quote saying we don't have time to waste, and they just kept it moving.
I can't lie, I never rated the Red Scabbards, but now I'm starting to have more respect for them. So...
they did not waste time at all. They just cut off the heads. Let's go. And
bish bash bosh.
Bish bash bosh, exactly.
Rise of Sakura,
the old man.
Yeah. Both are ninjas, and the war part, and Raizo was actually part of the Kozuki family. Like 41 years ago, part of the Oniwa Banshu, and eventually he left. So I'm sure that him and Fukuro have had some sort of relationship in the past, and I just enjoyed the line where Raizo tells Fukuro that you show so much devotion for a dead fool, and then my guy just replies with, I could say the same thing about all of you, which was a nice little funny parallel in regards to.
They've been coming up with their one-liners lately, even last chapter.
Yeah. And I know something that I was having a conversation with somebody about earlier yesterday about this One Piece chapter, is that I'm 100% sure that Orochi is not dead, and one of the main reasons is that because the Kozuki family need to be, I guess, not atoned, but there needs to be some sort of resolve into what happened to them, because as evil as Orochi is, he was prosecuted and attacked and pretty much mistreated due to what his granddad did. The whole Kozuki clan was mistreated because of what one individual did, and I don't think Oda would end the Wano story without the Kozuki clan somehow being resolved as to acknowledgement into regards to their mistreatment, so it doesn't happen going forward in Wano. So I think that Hiyori and Momo, mostly Hiyori, will come across Orochi and most likely she'll most likely apologize to Orochi for the fact that of how he was treated when he was younger, and how the Kozuki clan were treated because of what his granddad did. And I think she might give him the chance to live instead of killing him. And Orochi, being the slimy snake Jake is, he probably tried to attack her or not take the chance to live and actually try to do more damage. And either Hiyori kills him, or I can imagine CP0 killing him, or Orochi trying to escape and CP0 finally catching up to him and killing him, realizing that they, one, don't have no use for him, and two, Orochi may know a bit too much than he should do, and then CP0 might end up killing him, because CP0 still need to have a role to play in Wano. It'll just be interesting to see what eventually that will be.
Alright, so yeah, let me go on to Roof Piece. Let's give Zoro some props, man. I got to talk about Zoro first of all, because you see Zoro, yeah? My man managed to deflect a combined attack from Tuyonko. That is mad. Yeah, that move, because you saw how all 5 of them were like, this move's gonna be big, because they were worried, they were shook when Big Mom and Kaiden were preparing, was ready to fire some huge big attack, Ocean Sovereignty, and then Zoro managed to somehow hold it so all the others could like take cover. I don't know how Zoro managed to do it, and Zoro wasn't even put out of commission. He was still ready to fight.
He was still ready to go.
Nah, Zoro.
He upgraded from Thriller Bark.
Slightly, I think that tops the Thriller Bark.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I feel like the Thriller Bark one was more emotional and like, you know.
I think this is more.
It was a moment. It's like sick, you know. It's like wow, like he's got the wow bit, but I feel like the Thriller Bark one was just, it's a classic. But yeah, no, I agree. This was an amazing moment. I've been complaining like almost every chapter that Zoro doesn't have his moment, but now
I don't know. I think Zoro has had some moments, because I've just realized as you go through one, you see Zoro. Okay, I still feel that we haven't seen the most of Zoro, but I feel Zoro is stupid powerful. Like because some of the things we've seen, even
maybe it's because I just didn't like who he was fighting. I think that's it. He wasn't fighting anyone notable.
Maybe that's what.
Other than Killer, but then even then, you know, I wanted him to fight the big dogs, and now Now he's fought both of them. Literally the two strongest people. Like he deflected, he absorbed, or whatever he did. He took an attack, a combined attack from both of them. And it's sick. To be honest, I never thought they would fight together. I don't know what it is. Their relationship is so weird. I always think it's like hot and cold. Like I don't know if they like each other, they don't like each other.
I don't think they like each other. I think they have history, that's it. They really just have history. They have history, which is the funny thing. I don't know if they like each other like that, but
one thing I would add about the Zoro thing, actually something very top what you guys said about the Thriller Bark thing. I think the Thriller Bark one was more of a shot of his mental fortitude and how much he believed in Luffy's dream, while what happened in chapter 1009 was more to do with his brute strength. But what I would say as well is that although it was great what he did, I do think that he only held it for like a few seconds, and then Law managed to switch them, but he bought them enough time that Law was able to do that. Law was able to take them away from the danger. If Zoro stayed there and Law wasn't there to help him, I think Zoro would have been done at here. But that just shows how powerful that attack was. I still think that might be the most powerful attack that we've seen in the One Piece series.
I agree.
Yeah, definitely, absolutely.
I agree, because like you said, it's two Yonko combining an attack together. So it's definitely, I think it's definitely the most powerful.
Yeah, it is. Because even when we're watching the Oden flashback, it's Whitebeard versus Roger. I was thinking, but then this is really the strongest because it's both Yonkos combined. Yeah. And you know what? As I was reading it, I thought Zoro bought them enough time for them to escape, so I got nervous. I was like, wait, did they leave the roof? And then I realized they're still on the roof, because I thought this is how they're going to do the whole leaving for a bit so that they can rejuvenate and then come back to the fight. But nah, they were still on the roof.
That attack looked like the Broggy and Doro attack that happened in Little Garden, if you guys remember, with them two attacked a fish. It was a fish, a sea king together, and they done like the back swing towards the fish king. I don't know. You might not remember. I only remember because I literally watched the episode recently.
No, I don't remember.
No, I can't remember.
Is it pre-time skip?
Yeah, it's a Little Garden.
Right before. What is it?
Little Garden. Right before Alabasta. So it was actually not before Alabasta. Right before Drum Island. So it was way before Skypiea. So it was literally after Baroque's work. So the second island they get to after they leave Logtown. So Baroque's work, they pick up Vivi, then they end up in Little Garden where they see Mr. Free, and then they fight the wax thing, and then you have the two giants from Albath.
Oh yeah.
So that's who Broggy and Dory are, and they do a combined attack that's similar to what Big Mom and Kaido did when they swing the bat. But yeah, it just reminded me of that. So there's a few other things that happened after that. Especially, I really enjoyed the teamwork element of stuff.
Same, I did as well.
Fave. I love stuff like that.
Yeah, because again, I've said it before that as much as I love One Piece, the fighting scenes of One Piece is not something that I'll run to for One Piece. It's not something like, oh, there's a fight in One Piece that's going to be the highlight of the saga or of the arc. But I do love when they use tactical decisions to win a fight. So the whole thing with the Kid throwing the metal spears at Big Mom, and then letting her get close so you can use repel to send her up to the sky, and then having Law use the room tack to throw the rock at her, and then you have Zoro after getting battered by those two, so strong enough to go and attack Prometheus. So basically separating all the tools that Big Mom has in order to get rid of Big Mom.
Yeah, they start off with Zeus. They did Shambles, and Kid made that little cube, metal cube, and then Law used Shambles. Law used Shambles to swap around and put Zeus in that container. Zoro learned to cut fire from how Kinemon did it, and then Evie just did it from Eye.
Zoro's just amazing, man.
I think that's a theme of the Straw Hats. Like sometimes they don't need training; they just need somebody else. Like for example, like doing Arlong Park. Luffy picked up a move like I can't remember what it's called, but when he spun around and the only reason he clocked that is because of the mayor of the town had like a spinning thing on his head.
Yeah.
That's
All of
why,
Luffy's attacks are like that, especially his base attacks, all the beginning attacks. It's just from him learning like axe and gatling something. It's just all of it is just from him watching how other machines or weapons work, or even just like some common everyday item, and he just uses that to his advantage. So I guess they're geniuses in some way.
Yeah, and another example would be Ennis Lobby, with all of them literally, I wouldn't say necessarily say it was a power up, but all of them like found new ways to be more creative with the powers after getting beaten up by CP9. So I think that's what Oda does portray really well for the Straw Hats.
Yes.
They're really adaptive in fighting scenarios. And if they lose a fight, they will always learn something from it, whether it is they get stronger or they just be more tactful in how they go about next time.
Yeah, that's why we don't need a lot of training arcs, unlike other shonen anime. Like we don't need year-long training arcs so then they can just come up with one special move. Like it makes them learn on the spot. But yeah, I love the teamwork, and I also loved how Luffy was being really cheeky with Kaido, saying like, "Why are you dodging? Is it because it would hurt?" He's so cheeky. Like,
why are you running?
Why are you running?
Why are you running? Why are you running?
Like he realized like, oh, okay, so I could actually do some damage to you. And then Kaido's like, 3 realms Ragnarok. Imagine.
Yeah, 3 realms Ragnarok. So yeah, Luffy just goes and takes some Kaido, hybrid Kaido, gets punched up a little bit, and then takes full force. Looks like Kaido whacks that right into Luffy's back. 3 realms Ragnarok. Luffy, I think somehow Luffy will be fine somehow. I don't think he's gonna be.
Isn't it? It's interesting that he names it Ragnarok, yeah, because Ragnarok is a series of events, including a great battle, foretold to lead to the death of a number of great figures, right? And natural disasters and the submersion of the world in water. Then after these events, the world will resurface anew and fertile. The surviving and returning gods will meet, and the world will be repopulated by 2 human survivors, right? The downfall of greats, Kaido and Big Mom, that was going to be both of them. But the natural disasters, they're literally called disasters. The calamities, right?
Yeah, calamities.
And the submersion of the world in water. Something is telling me that Onigashima might actually go underwater. I mean, where else is it going to go? Like, it's not going to stay in Wano. Like, I doubt they're just going to keep the island open. Like, it could go underwater. And then after these events, the world will resurface anew and fertile, which is what Wano is going to have to be after they defeat Kaido. And 2 human survivors will repopulate. Who knows? Maybe Momo and maybe Hiyori and someone. Maybe Momo and someone. I don't know.
Zoro.
Don't piss me off. Don't piss me off. Don't piss me off. No, I'm not. It's not. Listen, I will stop reading One Piece. I'm not joking. I'll stop reading One Piece. That is annoying. No.
Before we move on to see what we think will happen next, one thing that we should highlight is the fact that both Luffy and Kid have been taken attacks head on by Kaido and Big Mom, respectively. Yeah. So and someone else mentioned is that every time Kid just gets punched up, he's always smiling. So I know we had the whole thing with Gold Rogers being Goldie Roger.
Don't piss me off. Kid D something.
Because it's 2 Ds.
I know, but I would be annoyed because why? Why is Kid a D?
It would make sense. It would make a lot of sense.
I think it'll make sense as well.
I just don't want Kid to be important. I just want him to just
after today's chapter, we have to give him his props. He's been a bum for so long. Like, he's done bits this chapter.
One time.
Yeah, one time's enough.
What's his last name? Kid what?
Eustace the Kid.
So Kid D Eustace.
No, it's Eustace the Kid. The Kid. It's like Monkey D. Luffy.
Oh, Eustace the Kid. Eustace the Kid.
But so now with the end of the chapter, having Big Mom poured into what we believe might be the scene, I personally don't want to see Big Mom come back with a memory loss. I don't want to see Lin again. It'll be interesting to see what happens. Obviously, Kaido can fly. I don't know if he's going to try and attempt to swoop down and get Big Mom.
If he saves her, then I'll be annoyed, because what the hell?
Yeah, exactly.
I don't think I think Big Mom's out of commission now.
Yeah. I think she might land on her ship with Smoothie and them, man.
Or I don't think she's landing on water.
No. I don't think she's landing on water.
Or maybe we're above an island right now.
Yeah, I think we might be above the island. And then she just lands somewhere where CP0 can come get her. But regardless, I don't think she's fighting until at least the roof battle is over. So yeah, I'm done with Big Mom. This was a very good way of getting it. I was really wondering how they're gonna get out of commission. Yeah. This is a very good way. I don't know how Kid will recover. I don't know how Zoro will recover. No, Zoro's still active. He was fighting Prometheus.
But he's in pain. If you look at the very last panel, he's coughing up blood. So I think this fight needs to end as soon or they're done, because it seems, even though Kaido seems fine, he's definitely damaged by the way that Luffy's talking about him.
For sure.
He's definitely he's taken damage, because remember he's even said that these guys have managed to actually hurt me or do something. So I think he's taken damage in this fight so far. It's going to be all them against Kaido. It's going to be a crazy battle now. We'll see what happens. We'll see what's going to happen. But yeah, it's 5 versus 1 now, and then Kaido's probably going to reveal a lot more that he can do. So it's going to be immense.
I've repeated this before. We keep getting chapters with people's names. If the next chapter that we get with a Straw Hat's name and it's Nami, I think that it just means that we're getting chapters from the Straw Hats, from people that got sent by Kuma, going backwards. So Luffy was the last person to get sent away by Kuma, and he was the first person to get a chapter, chapter 1000. Robin was the second to last person to get sent away by Kuma, and she got her own chapter in chapter 1005. Chopper was the third last person to get sent away by Kuma, and he got his own chapter in chapter 1007. Nami was the fourth last person, so if she gets the chapter, an individual chapter next out of the Straw Hats, I'm 100% sure that Zoro will be the last one to get an individual chapter in Wano, because he's the first person to be sent away by Kuma. If Zoro is the last person to get the last chapter the last individual chapter in Wano, it means that Zoro is going to be the one to defeat Kaido.
Absolutely, I'm there. I'm down for that.
If Nami is the next person to get an individual chapter in One Piece or out of the Straw Hats, I am putting all my money on Zoro
being the last one. Yeah, I definitely hear that, and I think if anything, it might be next chapter, because I doubt we're gonna get another roof piece. I doubt we're gonna see what happens up there. But I think for now we're gonna see Nami fighting. What's her name? Ulti?
Or Ulti on page 1.
Ulti. Yeah. So I think that's what we're getting next chapter.
I guess we'll leave it at that.
Yes.
Thank you everybody for watching. It was myself, Manny, Abby, and Ponle from the 4 Eyes Academia. As always, you can catch us through One Piece chapter reviews every time a One Piece chapter comes out. You can find us on Discord, Twitch, Twitter. We'll leave all the links in the bio, not bio, in the
description.
Description. You can find us right there. But yeah, again, guys, thank you for listening, and please do interact with us and talk to us, because we do enjoy talking about One Piece chapter with anybody and everybody.
Facts.
All
right, bye.
Bye
guys.